What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Week 14 edition of the Real Talk Ravens podcast. This week, the Ravens are coming off their bye week, and they have the LA Rams at home on Sunday.
Finally, a West Coast team at home. It feels like we played them all on the road, even though we had the Seahawks at home. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and it just feels like it's been a minute since we've had Baltimore Ravens football. I mean, we came off of a Sunday night game and then a Thursday night weird game and then the bye week. And yeah, it's just been I'm glad that we're finally getting back into a routine of at least playing on Sundays and Mondays.
Right. Just watch them flex our game tonight. Watch how impatient Ravens fans would get Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the rest of the schedule right now, this week against the Rams and the Dolphins game on New Year's Eve are the only 1:00 kickoffs. They haven't announced the Week 18 Steelers game kickoff time yet, so we got two prime times out of the 5 so far.
Let's not forget, we are like the Christmas prime time. So like, not only are we prime time, but we're prime time on a holiday, which doesn't happen too often for the Ravens. COVID stole that from us last Thanksgiving. And then the last time before that was the Thanksgiving that Mike Tomlin tripped Jacoby Jones, which was after we won the Super Bowl. So it's been a minute since we also had that dreadful Steelers game when Antonio Brown snaked into the end zone.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching that one.
I was at my grandparents' house eating some sort of dessert, and I just remember I don't know. I just it ruined my Christmas. I was like,
well, yeah. So we're bringing in the LA Rams, who are 6-6 currently. They are getting some key pieces back healthy for them, especially on the offense. Meanwhile, we are coming into the game at 9-3. The threads of the week, we're wearing all purple on purple out. The weather. Let's talk about the weather. That's going to be an overarching theme of this preview episode here. We're looking at 20+ mile an hour winds with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. It's going to be about 50 degrees and 95% chance of rain. So it's going to be extremely windy and rainy and cold.
That would benefit us then, because their run game isn't like a speedy run game. So if they're forced to run the ball, I'm sure we can eventually stop it. And if we have to run the ball all day, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into all that. But right now the spread, Baltimore is favored by a even 7 points. The over-under on the game is 40.5. Last week, the Rams did beat Cleveland. The Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns, 36-19. It was a lot closer than the final score suggests, though. I think it was pretty close all the way up until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So let's take a look at who our referee.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Huh?
3-game streak.
So didn't they lose to the Cardinals?
No, they've won 3 straight. They blew out the Cardinals. They won last week.
Oh yeah, you're right. They are on a 3-game win streak. So
December's best friend, momentum. So
yes. And also they're on the longest win streak actually since the Super Bowl year.
Ooh.
This is a well-coached team on both sides of the ball. They're very scrappy. That's one thing I'll say about them from just watching. Looking at it, though, we do have the referee for the week is Scott Novak. He's actually kind of below league average in penalty yards thrown per game, so
it's not the worst.
Probably won't see too many penalties. But
He's
with this rainy, wet, windy game, I'm sure things can get sloppy, and when things get sloppy, flags get thrown. So
yeah.
injuries or signings for the week. Let's start with that. We did re-sign wide receiver Tariq Black to the practice squad, and we released the rookie undrafted free agent DB Jeremy Lucian from the practice squad. That was the only move that we've made. Going into the injuries for the week, this is what we're seeing up to date as of Thursday. The Rams have had mainly two players that haven't practiced all week, and that is starting tight end Tyler Higbee with a neck injury, has not practiced yet, and then outside linebacker Michael Hocht with a knee injury has not practiced yet either. They have two players that are coming back from not practicing Wednesday today to a limited capacity with safety Quentin Lake and outside linebacker Byron Young. Byron Young is definitely one to watch. He's probably one of their up and rising stars on their defense. They have a very young defense, but we'll talk about that when we get into the defense. For the Ravens, Lamar
Lamar.
Jackson's the big headliner for
Yeah.
today. He ended up not practicing today. He did practice on Wednesday, but today's definitely a bigger practice when it comes to install. He didn't practice, they said, because of an illness, which is, not the worst thing considering we had no idea what the heck he wasn't practicing for until after the practice was over and they announced that. The good news is we're
And
getting back Marlon Humphrey, completely full practice so far. I watched his podcast today. He already said he's completely back and healthy, so
yeah.
that's good. Rashad Bateman missed Wednesday with an illness as well. Not sure if it's the same as Lamar.
But he's back Thursday, so quick recovery. Unless he could have carried it in from.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully it's the same sickness, and Lamar will be back tomorrow.
Right.
And then you got
I like
Matabike with the concussion protocol is back to full practice today, which is nice.
Yeah. I like
And then
seeing Malik Ham on the IR comeback
that,
list, whatever it is.
yep, him and Pepe Williams are both fully practicing on that injured reserve designated to return. So I know they have a 21-day window to activate them. It'll be interesting to see what we do with that.
Isn't Pepe on his second week in that window?
Well, I don't know if the bye week counts.
Well, wasn't he in that window like prior to our last game, or am I just crazy?
I think he might have been. Yeah.
So he would have one more week because of the bye week.
I think that's how it would work.
Okay. Otherwise, he'd have to be back on IR for the rest of the season, right?
Or we release him.
Right.
And try to get him at practice squad or something like that. But
we'd probably do that. I see Puka Nacua on there. He's been a joy to watch on the Rams. I know he's obviously going to play. He's been talking about how he's fine. It just was a scary injury at the moment. He said he felt like his shoulder was out of place. But he's fine. He's practicing full, but that's something to keep an eye on, especially in a very windy game where they might not be passing as much. Keep an eye on the fact that they have a healthy offensive line, which has been one of their strengths this year. And we're going to have to try and attack that to be successful in this game. So I'm excited to see our healthy defensive line against their healthy offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and get into the offense, though, and to our keys for the game. So just overall looking at this Rams defense, they are extremely creative and they fly around. They don't give you anything easy. So, they're not going to just let you march right down the field. They're going to be very scrappy. They're a very young defense, so they're going to have speed. And then, they always have Aaron Donald, the stalwart, who last week actually led all defensive tackles with pressures versus Cleveland with 8 pressures, and he had a sack that ended up also being a safety. He made Joel Bitonio last week look silly. And that's saying something because Bitonio is actually a pretty decent guard.
It'll be tough.
The key matchup, I think, will be not so much him versus Zeitler, because I think Zeitler can hold it down pretty decent, but it'll be more so, I think the biggest mismatch would be him versus John Simpson.
Yeah, definitely so. I will say the last time, and I know it's like a different scheme and a different team, but maybe some of that carried over because John Harbaugh is still the head coach. Last time we played the Rams, Aaron Donald was a non-factor.
Yeah, I will say, this isn't the same Aaron Donald that won the defensive MVP. This guy's, kind of on the back half of his career.
Still
Last
very
couple years, he's still very good. He's still a top 5 guy, but he's not the number 1 guy anymore, I would say, at his position. Still, he's a top 5 player at his position. Definitely can easily make John Simpson look silly, just like he did to a very good guard in Bitonio last week. But just overall, looking at this defense, they're number 14 in points allowed, number 16 in yards allowed, and they're number 19th ranked in third down defense. So they're pretty much right at the middle of the pack as far as NFL averages go. The biggest key, like we mentioned earlier, is the weather. The weather is going to be very tough for our offense. The last time that we played in a very bad weather game was the Colts, which we lost to a lesser team. So that's not good, but we do at least have experience that we can take from that game, hopefully, when it comes to wet balls, quarterback exchange with the running backs.
What would you do as a player? Like, what would they have you guys do preparing for a bad weather game?
So the main thing that usually goes down is the equipment staff goes and we do wet ball drills, and they get basically trash cans full of water, and they just dunk the ball in and then snap it to you, and you throw the ball or hand the ball off. Whatever drill you're doing, you're practicing with a wet ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
So
they have
that
anything to prepare for, like the wind? Or is it just like
the wind you can't really prepare for. I mean,
I'm
I
sure.
think that might actually be more of a factor than the rain.
Yeah.
Especially in I think it affects the special teams more than anything. Kicking the ball, I think you might see us be more aggressive when it comes to going for it on 4th down, maybe, because if it's 40-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, we're not going to trust that a 45-yard field goal goes in. If it's 4th and 5 or less, I think we go for it.
And being a Ravens fan and knowing M&T Bank Stadium, when the wind is swirling, it catches in a weird way at that. What is it? The right end zone.
Yeah, so with the wind and the rain, I don't think the pass game is going to be a huge component of our offense this week. I think we're going to have to be able to run the ball. Our run game is going to be key, which I think we're going to see our 2-headed monster of Keaton Mitchell and Gus Edwards really show. It's going to be that kind of day, I think, where we just try to keep it on the ground, keep it to quick passes where we don't have to really push the ball down the field and worry about the wind gusts just carrying the ball and having interceptions and all sorts of stuff.
I'm looking more actually to establish with those quick passes and screens, because knowing the Rams defense, they'll probably try to load the box at first so that we can't run on them. And they have Aaron Donald. So, that's going to be tough. So you might see a bunch of option plays, a couple RPOs, maybe some read just kind of get tricky on them and give Lamar options. But,
I think the main thing in the run game, like you said, Aaron Donald's their main guy. I would say we've got to double team him. So put Linderbaum, put one of the guards on him, whichever way we're running, put both of them on him, and then try to make their linebackers make plays, because there's nobody else really on their defense that scares you like an Aaron Donald does. There's no superstars besides him or even regular stars. So,
I know that the wind will be a factor in the passing game, But I think we will still be able to establish some sort of a passing game against them. Short to medium throws, of course. We're not going to like try and go really deep or anything. But I think we might be able to establish a really good balance, and this will be a good opportunity for us to, whether we win or lose. I think offense will have an opportunity to have a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be the other thing that I'm thinking about here is with Lamar Jackson not being in practice today, during a big install day like it is. I think that those extra reps could be pretty big coming off of a bye week. You take that time off, a little bit of rust builds up. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs. My prediction is that we're just going to keep it on the ground as much as possible. We probably throw it less than 25 times.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into defense unless you got anything else.
No.
All right. So looking at the Rams offense, like you mentioned, their offensive line has gotten much, much better over the season. The beginning of the year, they were a little bit of a weakness for them. Yeah. And they've gotten progressively better each week. That Kyron Williams run game, when he's healthy and that O-line is going, they are a tough team to beat. Kyron Williams has rushed for the last 2 games that he's been back from his injury, he's rushed for 231 yards. But that is just the beginning of their offense. They love to air the ball out. In the last 3 games, the Rams offense has produced 33 points per game, 412.7 yards per game. And since returning from injury for Stafford, he has had 63% completion percentage, 698 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
I will tell you one thing about this Rams team. They've been playing really well, but this kind of reminds me of the Lions game because Matt Stafford is very similar to Jared Goff at this point in his career. If we can find a way to get through that line and pressure him constantly, he won't be able to do anything because he's older, less mobile, he's injury prone, and he can get rattled a lot easier because of all of those things, just they'll make him.
Disagree with that. I feel like Jared Goff is a little bit more fragile as far as mentally.
Well, mentally, yeah.
Because Jared Goff to me is like, as soon as he felt a little bit of pressure, he was done for the rest of the game. Stafford, I don't think is going to be that way. I think if you sack him one time, he's not going to be scared to stay in the pocket and to deliver the next play.
Let me rephrase that. I do agree with that. Obviously, Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl. He's a much higher IQ quarterback than Jared Goff. What I'm saying is we'll wear him down throughout the game. Like physically, we'll wear him down throughout the game. Because I think we can still, as well as this offensive line has been playing, get 3 to 4 sacks and a few QB hits, So, I mean, we're a physical defense. We're going to get in there anyway.
Yeah, so our defense needed that bye week more than anything, more than anybody, especially the linebackers, the defensive line. That box definitely needed it. And then you got to throw in the fact we're getting back Marlon Humphrey, which is well needed against this wide receiver duo of Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. These two together have been just dominant this year. Yeah, they've been lighting the field up, looking like the greatest show on turf. Stafford's been playing great. My thing with this game is going back to the weather. The Rams play indoors. Matthew Stafford has played indoors most of his career, being from Detroit.
Right.
So how is he going to be able to deal with these elements for me?
Within their division, I mean, the most rain they'll ever see is Seattle. But
you're coming from the West Coast to the East Coast on a 1:00 game, the time change, they have a lot of disadvantages going against them.
One thing I was going to say about the Rams and Puka Nacua, I have found that he's a lot like Isaiah Likely, whereas he shines more when Cooper Kupp is not playing. But he has kind of had a resurgence in these last few weeks. He had a really good game last week
Yep.
against the Browns. So he can be
He,
off sometimes. He's not like
so another thing with that is we don't really talk about it since Puka Nakua wasn't very highly rated coming out as a rookie this in the draft this year. But this is kind of an argument between Zay Flowers and Puka Nakua, who's the better wide receiver as a
yeah.
rookie.
Well, stats wise, it's been Puka Nakua
Yeah. I'm
so
saying
far, but I think Zay can put on a show.
I think Zay Flowers is going to have something to say about that. Is what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
but going back to their offense, the
Zay.
weather is
You
going
need
to make it tough for them to operate as normal because they are a team that is pass happy as it gets. And I don't think you can be that way when this weather is the way it is. If it's going to be 25-mile-an-hour winds consistently with 40-mile-an-hour plus gusts, there's no way they can throw the ball the way that they are. Matthew Stafford does not have the arm strength that he used to have to really cut through the wind. So I just see them trying to run the ball with Kyron Williams, which I hope we've kind of cured our run defense with this bye week and being
They'll
able to
throw a
rest
lot
up.
of screens. They'll throw a lot of screens
They
against
do
us.
throw a lot of screens. This is a Sean McVay system, kind of similar to the Shanahan system. They're going to throw a lot of screens. So be ready for Kyron Williams. The other receiver that is a little bit of a gadget guy is Tutu Atwell from Louisville, who Lamar
Yeah.
probably knows pretty well. So just keep that in mind. And then the other guy in the passing game that's been on the, like we said, on the injury report is Tyler Higbee. He's a big red zone target for them. So if he's out this week, that would be pretty huge.
Yeah, that would. I think this is a good opportunity for. This is a good opportunity for us to establish what we might do against the Dolphins and the 49ers defensively, just because they're such similar offenses. Don't they all come from the same coaching tree? Or no, Shanahan does.
The Dolphins and the 49ers and McVay, because McVay and Shanahan worked together in Washington.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this will be a really good introduction for two other games for us. I think we will have to walk a line of we don't want to give too much away because we're going to see those other two teams possibly more than once.
I was
for both
just
of
about to
them.
say that. I feel like this is one of those games that you don't want to share too much, and then it's kind of a perfect game to have that because of the weather. You don't have to do too much. You're just going to have to play consistent. Don't turn the ball over. We can't have any fumbles. And then conversely, on the defense, we've got to create turnovers.
I think we will create turnovers. I think we also will turn the ball over.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying we won't. I'm just saying
It's going to be
if
annoying.
we don't, we win the game.
It's going to be annoying because we're going to have like one or two really untimely fumbles or interceptions, and it's really going to piss us off.
Yep, I'm just remembering the Colts game and Kenyon Drake fumbling, Justice Hill fumbling, Lamar
the momentum
fumbling.
completely shifted after that Kenyon Drake fumble. We were about to score and make it 14-0 and just run off with that game.
Speaking of Kenyon Drake, he has been going crazy on social media lately.
Yeah,
it's like he lost his mind.
Man.
He's got no respect for the Ravens ever since he went to the Browns. And he got cut by the Browns.
Yeah, look, dude, why are you being salty? We actually were the one team that gave you a chance after you blew it by sucking in other teams. So, like, you were nothing in Miami, you were nothing in Arizona. We brought you in, and you were actually decent for a year. So, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, with that, let's go ahead and get into some predictions for this week, some bold predictions. Offensively, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying. I'm going to say the offense, we're going to not be asked to do too much, and it's going to be a heavy run day. So my bold prediction really isn't offense. It's more so special teams. Devin Duvernay gets a kick return or punt return touchdown coming off the bye week. I think we're going to scheme something up. Chris Horton's going to make me eat my words that he's the worst coach that we have, and we're going to go get ourselves a special teams touchdown. Defensively, I'm going to say that both corners, Brandon Stevens and Marlon Humphrey, both get an interception this week.
Marlon's first interception of the year, wouldn't that be?
Yep, it would. And he'll be, I think the volume of passing that the Rams do will be attributed to that. And then the weather, I think, is going to just cause for some tip passes, just things like that that just are sloppy that we'll be able to get our hands on the ball. And then for the score, I'm going to say that we win 20-10.
20-10? Okay. Offensively, my bold prediction is that we will. So I'm a little torn because. Okay, I've got it. Offensively, we will be perfect in the red zone. Every time we go to the red zone, we'll score a touchdown.
Okay.
Or a field goal. I'll say every time we go in there, we'll score a touchdown.
Okay.
I think we're going to, since we don't have Mark Andrews anymore, we've got to get a little more tricky in the red zone. And I think we're going to see a little more diversity in the play calling. And against this defense, maybe we can actually get Zay or Rashad or even Lamar on the ground, one or two. Defensively, I predict that the dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year, Kyle Hamilton, will get a strip sack and an interception, creating 2 turnovers that both ended in touchdowns for the Ravens, which are crucial in our 24-20 win over the Rams.
24-20. All right. So there we have it. Both of us said that the Ravens are going to win. I said 20-10. Mike says 24-20. Now let's go ahead and get into our picks segment.
Where are we at? I feel like you're probably leading now.
Oh, I wish.
Oh,
here we are. Mike has he gained another game lead last week from week 13. He went 4-1 in his picks and has extended his lead to a 2-game lead. And I went 44-29. The real key was the Jacksonville-Cincy game. You picked Cincy. I picked Jacksonville.
Y'all were clowning me for picking Cincy too.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't get hurt, they win.
The game was tied with Trevor Lawrence in the game.
But they had a chance in overtime with the ball first. I think Trevor Lawrence goes down and scores.
Yeah, he might have, but he wasn't in the game. So, I mean, it's like we might have beaten the Bengals in the playoffs, but we fumbled it on the 1-yard line. You know, it's like we could have, would have, should have.
Yep. Just like if Lamar was in that game, we would have won.
Right. No doubt. Lamar is unstoppable against the Bengals. Unless he's missing 97% of the rest of his team.
Yeah. So that was our standings so far. So now we're going to go ahead and get into some week 14 picks.
Did you also pick the Packers to beat the Chiefs?
I picked the Chiefs, but
did I also
that was another one. That was another one.
I knew it. I feel really good about Jordan Love. I think he is the quarterback of the future in Green Bay, which is like, go figure.
He's starting to get hot. He is definitely starting to get hot.
I think that Detroit Thanksgiving game was a real litmus test for him. Getting out to that early lead and being able to hold on to the game and winning. And then going after that and beating the Chiefs. I know there were a couple of weird calls, or no calls, I guess. But they scored pretty much every time they had the ball. So
yeah. Well, with that, we're going to get into the AFC North and primetime picks. First one we'll start with is tonight's game, Thursday Night Football, and also an AFC game, AFC North game, New England at Pittsburgh. And just keep in mind that Mitchell Trubisky is starting at quarterback for this Pittsburgh Steelers tonight.
Who's starting for the Patriots? Is it Bailey?
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
I think that the Steelers are gonna. I think the Patriots are gonna win 14-7, and they're all gonna be 3 defensive touchdowns.
I'm sorry, but the New England Patriots, to me, are the worst team in the NFL right now.
That Chargers loss was really bad.
So
The
you could put
Steelers are like the biggest frauds in the NFL, dude. And Bill Belichick hates the Steelers. I feel like
I
if he wants to flip off the NFL and get one more win this year, this is the game it's gonna be.
I
Because
do think it's going to be extremely low scoring because the Patriots do have a really good defense.
they might have a better defense than the Steelers when they're fully healthy.
Yeah. The difference is the Pittsburgh Steelers just have the dirty TJ Watt over there. He'll probably knock 3 guys out himself
He is
tonight.
playing
So,
tonight, by the way. He is good to go.
yeah, so I'm going to go with the Steelers on that one. So we got our first game up. First disagreement.
I think the deciding factor in this game, like I said, I think it's all going to be defensive touchdowns. Maybe the score will be different and you'll get a couple field goals. But the deciding factor is that the Steelers offense, which is already the worst in the NFL, I think the Patriots offense is a little better. And that's saying something, is even worse with Mitchell Trubisky, even though there's not much of a drop off. Mitchell Trubisky just is rusty as hell.
Just know that the Patriots are 2-10 right now.
Yeah. And the Steelers
they are also the only team that I think has officially been eliminated from playoffs.
Okay, and who did the Steelers just lose to? You picked it. You should know it. They only got 3 wins.
Okay, but it wasn't to the New England Patriots. They lost to the Kyler Murray Cardinals.
Listen, logically I agree with you, but I feel it in my gut. I feel like something weird is going to happen and the Patriots are going to win.
Okay. Next game, AFC North matchup again on Sunday. The Indianapolis Colts at the Cincinnati Bengals.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think that the Indianapolis Colts have been playing extremely well this year. The game right now, Cincinnati's favored by 1.5, which basically means it's an even 50-50 because the Bengals are at home. So I think it could go either way. Depends on how Browning plays. Browning actually did look pretty decent last week versus Jacksonville, but I just feel like Indianapolis isn't going to let Joe Mixon run the ball on them, and they're going to force Browning to make some legit throws. They're not just going to give him easy throws like Jacksonville did. Jacksonville had one of the lowest ranked defenses this year.
Not to mention Indy can just run the ball down the Bengals' throat.
Yeah, so I think to me it's a no-brainer. I'm going Colts.
I agree with you there. I was a little torn at first because I thought maybe the Bengals could score a lot again. And maybe they can, but I don't think they'll be able to run on the Colts, like you said. And I think that'll make them one-dimensional. So I also picked the Colts.
That Colts loss doesn't look as bad anymore.
It was bad. It was bad. Don't kid yourself.
It doesn't look as bad. That's all I said. All right, so next game, another AFC North matchup, 1 o'clock, Jacksonville. The probably not having Trevor Lawrence at the Cleveland Browns, probably going to be Joe Flacco again from what it looks like. Cleveland is favored by 3.
Trevor Lawrence has already said that he's going to try and play this weekend.
He said he's going to try, but I still don't believe it. I don't. The way that looked, it did not look good.
So here's the thing. I think that the Jaguars are about to experience their worst nightmare. They were 8-3. All they had to do was win. Trevor Lawrence went down. I agree with you. He's probably not playing this weekend. If he does, he's going to struggle against the Browns defense. I think they're going to lose. I think the Browns are better. Just defensively, I think if Joe Flacco can do what Jake Browning can do against that Jags defense, then they'll be fine. And then they'll have to play us. And they might be getting Trevor Lawrence back for the first time, or they might be riding a 2-game losing streak. Rusty, the Jaguars need to win this game. Otherwise, they can find themselves headed down a very slippery slope at the end of the season with the Texans right on their tail. What happens if the Texans win the division and all of a sudden Jacksonville has to go to a Baltimore?
Yeah, right now Jacksonville's 8-4, Texans are 7-5, and the Texans get a much easier matchup this week with the Jets.
Right. So, like, theoretically, if the Jaguars don't damn near win out, which will make our game very interesting, but if they don't damn near win out, then they could have to go to a team like Miami or a team like Baltimore or a team like Kansas City on the road in a wild card game. And
this actually could be for the wild card spot if you think about it.
Right. What happens if the Colts keep winning and then they end up beating the Jags and then the Jags?
Well, I'm thinking more so if Jacksonville and Cleveland finish with the same record.
You're right.
Because Cleveland is 7-5. So if they win, them and Jacksonville will both be 8-5.
Yeah, that's true. And there's something about Joe Flacco. He didn't look terrible last week.
He actually looked pretty damn good.
Awful interception.
That was just a really bad throw.
Other than that, he kind of looked better than like anyone else has played for the Browns this year.
I'm not going to count Deshaun Watson, but he definitely looked better than.
I'm saying like backup wise, not Deshaun
definitely
Watson.
Better than DTR. Definitely better than the other guy, whatever his name is, Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker, who won a few games. I think he's been better than both.
They've got a good enough team where if you have a capable quarterback, they can win games, and it kind of reminds me of the old Ravens teams with really good defenses, really good run game, and all he has to do is
wide receiver.
Yeah, all he has to do is throw it on time, and he can make a few deep ball passes. It's enough to scare some defenses.
If Joe Flacco wins a playoff game on the Cleveland Browns, it better be in Kansas City.
I'm not going to lie to you. I would never say that I would root for the Cleveland Browns, but with Joe Flacco at quarterback,
no,
I will root for the Cleveland Browns as long as Joe Flacco is their quarterback and they're not playing the Ravens.
Tyler, what's going to happen is they're going to get like this fucking 7 seed and have to play in Baltimore. And then Joe Flacco, January Joe with the chip on his shoulder in Baltimore, is going to come into town and give us hell.
If that's how we lose, I'll take it. I don't want to lose to any other way.
I don't want to lose, period.
I'm just saying.
No, that would be the worst thing ever. That would be so bad. Are you kidding me?
I don't want to lose any other way. That's the only way I would want to lose is to January Joe.
You wouldn't rather like lose a shootout to Mahomes?
No, because then all we're going to hear is Lamar's not as good as Mahomes.
Oh, Lamar's not as good as Joe Flacco.
No, they're not going to even say that. It's just going to be all about Joe Flacco.
No, it's going to be all about how Lamar's not elite because he can't carry his team against a team with a bad starting quarterback, third-string quarterback, and a decent defense. That's all it's going to be.
Decent. Cleveland is elite right now.
Well, they're kind of banged up, aren't they, right now?
I'm not really. I haven't really paid too close attention to them. I didn't really watch their game. I just watched the highlights.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. Browns defense. That's the only defense that I'm really nervous about potentially having to play in the playoffs. Honestly, I'm
concerned about San Francisco.
They might make me eat my words, but I'm more worried about the Browns because they've already seen us twice this year.
All right, well, I think we both agreed on that one. We're going to go with the Browns on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game is Sunday Night Football, NFC East matchup, the Eagles at the Cowboys. And I'm pretty sure Jalen Hurts got banged up in that game last weekend that they lost to the Niners.
Yeah,
Right now, Dallas is favored by 3.5.
I think they'll probably win by a whole lot more than 3.5 because they're pretty damn good at home, and the Eagles got exposed last week. And I've been kind of riding the Cowboys train the last few weeks. I'm not saying that I think they're like outright better than the Eagles, but I think momentum is very, very important in this game. I think that they are the one team that, outside of the 49ers, I guess, one of two teams in the NFC that match up really well against the Eagles because both of those teams have built their teams to beat the Eagles. And Dallas has been doing it since they won their first Super Bowl a few years ago. So it's not like it's a new thing. And the 49ers just started with an advantage because they already had a really good defense. So that's probably why I think the Cowboys will win. Defense, banged up Jalen Hurts, really good offense right now. They're electric. They're running the ball great. CeeDee Lamb has been going off every week. Dak Prescott has actually looked like an MVP candidate in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I would say he's the front runner right now. If I had to,
Vegas says Purdy. I don't think so, but Vegas says Purdy.
Nah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot different than the first time they played. That was at Philadelphia in the beginning of the season. I guess it was kind of only like a couple. It was like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. But I just feel like like you said, Dak is hitting his stride right now. They look very comfortable as an offense. It'll be interesting to see how the Eagles defense is able to just stop that pass game because it's been pretty elite. And I just think with Jalen Hurts being banged up, that's going to be enough so that they're not going to score as much as the Cowboys. I do think it's going to be closer than what you're saying. I think it'll probably be like a one possession game.
I think it'll be like close, just not one score. I think it'll be like 10 points.
I think it'll be like 34-27.
I could see like 35-45 or like 27-17.
I don't think anyone's scoring 45 points on the Eagles defense.
The freaking Niners damn near did.
That was a fluke. I'm not going to say that can happen every week.
Though. They just did that last week. Wouldn't this be the week that the Cowboys could take advantage of the holes that were exposed?
I'm sure the Eagles now see that too, though. They self-scouted.
Yeah, but the Cowboys have also already played the Eagles. They play them twice a year. They know their tendencies.
All right. Next game is the Monday Night Football, first Monday Night Football game because we have a doubleheader this week.
That's right, we do.
Green Bay at the New York Giants.
Green Bay.
You sure?
Tommy DeVito has been an exciting story, but I think Green Bay is a little healthier right now. I know they're already pretty banged up, but like I still think they're a little healthier. And I think that they have more key players out there than the Giants do. Saquon is great. He'll keep the game close. I think maybe 20-17 Green Bay.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that Green Bay is going to assert their dominance in the NFC. What are they? The North?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that they get back another game up or get back another game on the Lions this week. Because I think the Lions actually have a tough matchup. They're playing the Bears at Chicago, so I could see them maybe choking that game away.
I doubt it, but it's possible. I just don't know if the Bears are good enough to pull off a comeback.
They've done it before this year. So I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. I don't think the Giants are going to have quite enough firepower because I think Green Bay is going to be able to put up points on them. And I think the only thing that gets me a little bit, shaky is the fact that Wink Martindale loves to get after and blitz quarterbacks, and Jordan Love's still a little bit inexperienced. So I wonder how he's going to be able to, what his answers, if he's going to be able to protect himself in the pass protection game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because, the Giants are still a very well coached team.
They are. They're extremely well coached, and they are what, like 4-8 or 5-7 or something.
They're 4-8.
So they've won a few games. They've won 2 straight, actually. They are a little hot coming into this game. It's in New York.
It is in New York.
I don't think it matters. I think that Jordan Love just won a primetime game. He's not gonna choke in New York.
Let's not forget that they beat the Patriots 10-7 last week.
2 weeks ago. Was it?
Or 2 weeks ago, because they had the Giants are coming off a bye week.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I still think the Packers are going to win. This
I'm going to change my pick here because we've got too many agreements. I'm going to go with the Giants. And you know who I'm going to be rocking with? Tommy DeVito.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That was awful. Jordan Love has a very unique opportunity in front of him to, after a big win against a great team, prove that it wasn't just a fluke and that he's just going to choke out against a bad team like most middling team quarterbacks do. What he's going to do is he's going to come out and he's going to grab the Giants by the scruff of their neck and he's going to assert his dominance. And he's gonna throw for like 350 yards and 3 touchdowns again. So you know what? 21-17. No interceptions. It'll be 4 straight games.
I think
he's gonna kick the Giants out of their own stadium.
I'm going back and I'm gonna say Wink Martindale dials up some pressures and gets after Jordan Love, forces a few turnovers. I'm gonna go the Giants win it 27-24.
Tyler, you saw what he just did to the Chiefs defense, right?
The Giants have
I'm giving you one opportunity to change it back. I'm giving you one.
Wink Martindale.
Yeah, who freaking put Yannick Ngakoue in coverage, okay? Like, come on, dude. He's great at blitzing, but, like, eventually they'll figure it out.
No Christian Watson.
Okay.
All right. So there it is.
That is actually like a pretty big loss for the Packers. I wasn't thinking about that. I still think they'll win.
I'm going Giants. The final game, the recap, the ender of the doubleheader is Tennessee at Miami.
Oh, God. Why does Miami have such an easy schedule?
We played them.
I mean, besides us, they don't play anyone else good. No, well, the Bills are okay. The Bills are. They're hot-ish. Even after a loss.
Titans are 4-8. Dolphins are 9-3.
Derrick Henry's in concussion protocol, might not play next week. Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that makes my decision the exact same. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. This one, I think the Titans are 0-6 in away games this year.
Jeffrey Simmons is also out, so.
Yeah, the Titans are 0-6 away. The Dolphins are 5-0 at home. Give me the Dolphins at home, and I'm going to say I don't even know what the spread is, but I know they cover.
Yeah.
They're favored by 13. They're going to cover and score and beat them by 17.
I think this is one of those games, like the Commanders game, where the Dolphins just get out to an early lead. Tyreek Hill probably has another 200-yard game, getting him that much closer to a 2,000-yard season with 4 games to go after this. I think he needs 500 and some change. I think he could get a good chunk of that change today or this weekend. I think that it will be important for the Dolphins to run the ball against the Titans, because even though it'll be tempting to throw all over them, I think you can actually have a better chance of getting out of there without injury and like one of those weird trap game things if you just run the ball, kill clock, and slow drives down the field. Just the Titans are a really, really physical team. So you kind of want to put them in place because they are one of those teams that you could, oh my goodness, Tyreek Hill out 4 weeks. Oh my goodness. To another concussion. You know what I mean?
Wait, what?
What? I was just saying that the Titans are a very physical team. So the one thing you have to watch out for playing them is just to try and remain healthy. This is kind of one of those games where I could see Tua getting like concussed or like Tyreek Hill like pulling a hamstring or something just because they're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So I said just like kind of long drives, run the ball, kill a clock, top it off with like a Tyreek Hill touchdown or something. Get out of there.
I thought you were like reading off your screen some breaking news. I was like, oh, what?
No. That would suck.
I was like, I'm about to change my picks real quick.
Yeah. No. Okay.
All right. Well, here it is. Here's our Week 14 picks. The only differing ones are tonight with the Pittsburgh and Patriots game. You got Patriots, I got Pittsburgh, and then the Green Bay Giants game. You got Green Bay, I've got the Giants.
I'm a little more confident in my Green Bay pick than my Patriots pick, but I've been lucky on some of these weird games, so we'll see.
Well, I hope your luck runs out. But
no, you don't. You want the Steelers to win tonight?
Do I want them to win? Yeah, you know what? I do, because I think we can beat the Steelers. No problem.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't want them in the playoffs. They're fucking stupid. They're like the most depressing team in the league. They need to just not be in the playoffs.
They're not going to.
Well, if they beat the Patriots and then they beat the Colts, which I think they have a real good chance at doing, and then they somehow beat us like they always magically do, that's 3 wins right there. That puts them at 10-7. That's a playoff spot, especially with the sweep over us. I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm just saying you want to nip it in the bud before it does.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps that up. We don't have any top players of the week because we are coming off the bye. If anything, top player of the week, Marlon Humphrey, coming back.
Right. So I actually was going to replace that with a different segment this week, a segment that I want to actually keep bringing back. It's called Around the AFC. And it's where I discuss the race for the 1 seed and the playoff picture. Tyler, do you have a visual of the playoff picture right now? I have it on my phone, but maybe
pull one up. Let's see, 2023 NFL playoff picture.
I just want you guys to see how ridiculously close this is.
All right. Here we go. All right. Here it is off of NFL.com.
So
AFC.
We've got
on the left, NFC on the right.
We've got the 1 seed, 9-3 Miami Dolphins, us at 2 at 9-3. The Chiefs behind us by 1 game at 8-4. The Jaguars at 8-4. And then for the wild cards, we've got the Steelers 7-5, the Browns 7-5, and the Colts 7-5. And on the outside looking in, the Texans at 7-5, the Broncos, Bengals, and Bills at 6-6, and then the Chargers at 5-7. And I'm pretty sure that's about everyone who's relevant, right?
Yeah, it just keeps going.
I don't see the Raiders or the Jets turning things around.
Oh, I take that back. I thought the Patriots were the only team eliminated, but it's actually the Panthers. Your next team.
Yeah. Well, they only have 1 less win than the Patriots, so
I think if the Patriots lose this week, they're eliminated.
So they're playing for something. to keep their season alive one more week.
They got to win about 5 more straight to even sniff, and they need some help.
Well, you know they're going to beat the Jets. That's at least one right there.
Nah, Zach Wilson's back.
Tyler, you're better than Zach Wilson.
No, I'm not. And I'll tell you that right away. I've seen him throw in person.
You've got better brains.
Anybody in that offensive, I'm going to say it. I've said it all season. I don't care what quarterback you stick behind that offensive line. They are going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, that's true. So around the AFC. So I just wanted to point out, if you can scroll back up to the top, for the first time, it seems like in forever, the Ravens completely control their own destiny.
Win and we get it. We win
Win
out.
and we get
We
it.
are the number one seed.
If we win out and the Chiefs win out, we have one more win than them. I think the Chiefs do have the tiebreaker if we get even with them again. So
as of now,
but the Chiefs still have the Bills coming up, and the Bills will probably be pretty tough for them. I think the Bills are going to bring it and probably win that game.
I think there's a good chance the Bills win that game.
Right.
Because they are fighting. Talk about a team that's fighting for something.
I think the Bills make the playoffs. Personally, I think they have a really tough schedule. They've got the Chiefs and the Cowboys, but they're going to win at least one of those, and then the rest are dumb teams.
I wish they flexed that game to prime time.
Yeah, why are we? Could we do a Thursday? Don't we have the Thursday flex now? Why couldn't we have freaking flexed?
How are the Chiefs-Bills game rematch not a flexed game?
The only reason it's not is because like the NFL is lame. I don't know.
Instead, we're watching freaking
Patriots Steelers.
The Patriots Steelers, and then the Titans and Dolphins on Monday night, and the Packers and Giants.
Right. We control our own destiny. We play the Dolphins. We beat them. We take that lead back. We play the Jaguars. When we beat them, they won't have a shot unless we just choke and lose out. We actually play everyone in our immediate vicinity of the playoff picture, excluding the Chiefs, and we have an opportunity to make a statement. Our last 5 games are all against playoff caliber teams fighting for a spot.
We are going to play one of these teams in the last 5 games of our regular season again in the playoffs. One of them we will play twice.
Maybe more than one of them. What if the Steelers and then the Chiefs, or the Steelers and the Dolphins and then the Niners?
Chiefs. We don't play the Chiefs. Yeah.
Dolphins, Steelers and Dolphins, and then the Niners.
Or yeah, I was thinking maybe the Niners in the Super Bowl and then one of the other AFCs.
God, I don't want to play the 49ers in the Super Bowl, but I think if we do, we'll probably beat them because we'll have already seen them once. We're one of those teams that once we see someone, we can. It doesn't matter if they can do the same thing. We can do it better.
We lost to the Bengals. No, not the Bengals. The Browns the second time.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was freaky. And that's a divisional opponent. The Browns see us twice a year. This would be the second time this year the 49ers saw us, but like the first time in 3 years. So
that's
we
it.
We have an opportunity.
The AFC picture.
We have an opportunity to kill the demons of the past. Tyler, respectfully, screw your idea of not getting the 1 seed so that we have momentum. I would rather have another bye and then have a team have to come into the bank in prime time. You saw us against the Bengals. Just imagine if we're hosting the Steelers as a 1v5 in the divisional round and the bank is blacked out and the loudest we've ever heard it. Kenny Pickett will throw 5 interceptions and we'll win 25-0, 24-0. Let's go. Let's get that number 1 seed.
I'm just excited for this final stretch. I'm excited to see our guys finish. This is our window. This is our window. We have so many guys we talked about last week that are not going to be Ravens next year. And we have the best team that we've had overall in quite some time, probably since 2019. So here it is. This is our window. Let's do it.
And honestly, I know I just said all that, but it doesn't matter which ones we win and lose, as long as we win most of them. I'd say as long as we win 3 of them, we'll be okay. We'll have a really good position in the playoffs, and we stay healthy, learn from our mistakes, and adjust on offense without Mark Andrews. Those are the keys to us having a successful playoff run. It's not getting the 1 seed would be great, like I just said, but more importantly is just being healthy and having that good chemistry.
Yep. And so
So,
that, I think, wraps up our episode for this week, the week 14 preview of the Ravens versus the Rams. I hope you guys had a very restful bye week. I hope you guys are ready for this last 5 weeks of the regular season, and hopefully we'll get another bye week.
are we doing 2 episodes next week, or are we combining them again?
I think we'll be able to, since we're on back to a regular schedule, we'll be able to do 2 episodes. So we'll see you all early on next week with the recap episode of this game, hopefully with some big news of us going to 10-3 versus the Rams. Enjoy your all's weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week.
I think if we get to 10-3, it'll finally hit me how special this team is. Like because I know we're used to like, oh, we're the Ravens, we're weird, we can compete with anyone. But if we get to 10-3,
yep,
that's double digits.
That's time. When you get to the 10th win, that's when you
Yeah.
know things are going good. So
Yeah.
with that, we will see you all next week. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Help us out. Comment, questions, anything you got, you guys shoot it to us and we will answer them. Again, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.